Chapter 7 of Gilgamesh. This is on page 49 of your textbook. Utanapishtim tells Gilgamesh about the Great Flood, how it came about, what it was like, and how he survived. Gilgamesh said to the faraway, "I know that you can live for days without end, Utanapishtim, but your features look the same as my own. Nothing about you looks strange. You resemble me in every way. I had expected you would wish to do battle, but here you are, lying lazily upon your back. You appear to feel as I do, no longer interested in contests with the sword or with the bow. Tell me, how did you acquire everlasting life? How did you join the assembly of the heavenly gods?" Utanapishtim replied, "Gilgamesh, I will reveal to you the secret of the gods." And so he began his tale. You are familiar with the city of Shuruppak, on the banks of the Euphrates River. When both the city itself and the gods within it were already old, the gods decided to bring forth a great flood. Enlil, ruler of all the gods, called them together in assembly. "The people who live upon the broad earth have become numerous beyond count, and they are too noisy," he complained. "The earth bellows like a herd of wild oxen. The clamor of human beings disturbs my sleep. Therefore, I want Adad to cause heavy rains to pour down upon the earth, both day and night. I want a great flood to come like a thief upon the earth, and steal the food of these people and destroy their lives." Ishtar supported Enlil in his wish to destroy all of humanity, and then all the other gods agreed with his plan. However, Ea did not agree in his heart. He had helped human beings to survive upon the earth by creating rich pastures and farmland. He had taught them how to plow the land and how to grow grain. Because he loved them, he devised a clever scheme. When Ea heard Enlil's plan, he appeared to me in a dream and said, "Stand by the wall of your reed hut, and I will speak with you there. Accept my words and listen carefully to my instructions. I will reveal a task for you." I found myself wide awake, with Ea's message clearly etched in my mind. So I went down to the reed hut and stood with my ear to the wall as the god had commanded. "Utanapishtim, king of Shuruppak," a voice said, "listen to my words and consider them carefully. The heavenly gods have decreed that a great rainstorm will cause a mighty flood. This flood will engulf the cult centers and destroy all human beings. Both the kings and the people whom they rule will come to a disastrous end. By the command of Enlil, the assembly of the gods has made this decision. Therefore," Ea continued, "I want you to abandon your worldly possessions in order to preserve your life. You must dismantle your house and construct a giant ship, an ark that you should call Preserver of Life. Make sure the ship's dimensions are equal in length and width," Ea counseled. "Build it of solid timber so the rays of Shamash will not shine into it. Take care to seal the structure well. Take aboard your wife, your family, your relatives, and the craftspeople of your city. Bring your grain and all of your possessions and goods. Take the seed of all living things, both the beasts of the field and the birds of the heavens, aboard the ship. Later I will tell you when to board the ship and seal the door." I replied, "Ea, my lord, I will do as you have ordered. However, I have never built a ship. Draw a design of this ark on the ground for me so that I can follow your plan. And when the people of Shuruppak ask me what I am doing, how will I respond?" Ea then replied to me, his servant, "I am drawing the design of the ship upon the ground for you as you have asked. As for the people of Shuruppak, tell them, I have learned that Enlil hates me so that I can no longer live in your city, nor can I place my feet anywhere in that god's territory. Therefore, I will go down to the deep and live with my lord Ea. However, Enlil intends to shower you with abundance. After a stormy evening, you will find the most unusual birds and fish, and your land will be filled with rich harvests." With the first glow of dawn, I began to construct my giant ship. The people of Shuruppak gathered about me with great interest. The little children carried the ceiling materials, while the others brought wood and everything else I would need. By the end of the 5th day of hard labor, I had constructed the framework for my ship. The floor space measured an entire acre. The length, width, and height each measured 200 feet. I divided the height of the ark so that the interior had 7 floors, and I divided each level into 9 sections. I hammered water plugs into it and stored supplies. I made the craft watertight. Every day I killed cattle and sheep for the people, and feasted the workers with red wine, white wine, and oil as though they were water from the Euphrates. We celebrated each day as if it were a great holiday. Finally, on the 7th day, I completed my preparations and moved the ship into the water. When 2/3 of the ship had entered the water, I loaded into it whatever remained that I intended to take with me. This included what silver and gold I possessed and what living things I had. I put aboard my family and relatives. I put aboard all of the craftspeople. I put aboard animals of the field, both wild and tame. Ea had given me a time by which I had to be ready to depart. He had said to me, "When Adad causes the heavens to darken with terrible storm clouds, board the ship and seal the entrance." So I watched the heavens carefully. When they looked awesome with the gloom of an impending storm, I boarded the ship and sealed the entrance with clay. Long before the storm began to rage upon us, we cast off our ship's cables and prepared to let the sea carry us wherever it would. The people of the land watched, bewildered and quiet, as Adad turned all that had been light into darkness. The powerful south wind blew at his side, uniting the hurricane, the tornado, and the thunderstorm. It blew for a full day, increasing speed as it traveled, and shattered the land like a clay pot. In order to observe the catastrophe, the heavenly gods lifted up their torches, so that the land might blaze with light. But the storm wind raged furiously over the land like a battle. It brought forth a flood that buried the mountains and shrouded the people. No person could see another, and the gods, looking down from heaven, could not find them either. Its attack ravaged the earth, killing all living creatures and crushing whatever else remained. As the heavenly gods watched the flood waters pour forth upon the land and destroy everything that inhabited the earth, they too became frightened. They took refuge in their highest heaven, the heaven of Anu. There they crouched against the outer wall, trembling with fear like dogs. Nintu, the mother goddess, wept for the people who lived on the earth. The goddess Ishtar cried out for the victims of the flood like a woman in labor. "All that used to exist upon the earth in days of old has now been turned to clay," she moaned, "and all because I added my voice to Enlil's in the assembly. How could I agree with the order to attack and destroy my people when I myself gave birth to them? Now the bodies of my people fill the sea like fish eggs." Humbled by the enormity of their deed, the heavenly gods wept with Ishtar. For 7 days and 7 nights the stormy south wind raged over the land, blowing the great flood across the face of the earth. Each day and each night the windstorms tossed my giant ship wildly about upon the tumultuous sea of floodwaters. On the 8th day the flood-bearing south wind retreated, and the floodwaters became calm. Radiant Shamash ventured forth once again. He spread his sunlight upon the heavens above and the earth below and revealed the devastation. When my ship had rocked quietly for a while, I thought that it would be safe to open a hatch and see what happened. The world was completely still, and the surface of the sea was as level as a flat roof. All humanity except us had returned to clay. I scanned the expanse of the floodwaters for a coastline, but without success. As Shamash brought his rays of light and warmth inside my ship, I bowed my face to the ground before the powers of the universe. They had destroyed the world, but they had saved my ship. I knelt in submission and respect before Shamash, who nourishes human beings with his healing rays. In gratitude for our survival, I sacrificed an ox and a sheep to the heavenly gods. Then I sat and wept, letting my tears course freely down my face. My ship floated upon the waters for 12 days. When I next opened the hatch and looked outside, far in the distance, in each of the 14 regions, a mountain range had emerged from the surrounding waters. In time, my ship came to rest, secure and stable, upon the slopes of Mount Nisir. For the first 7 days, Mount Nisir held my ship fast, allowing no motion. On the 7th day, I set free a dove and sent it forth. The dove could find no place to alight and rest, so it returned to the ship. Next I set free a swallow and sent it forth. The swallow could find no place to alight and rest, so it too returned to the ship. Then I set free a raven and sent it forth. The raven could see that the waters had receded, so it circled but did not return to my ship. Then I set free all living things and offered a sacrifice to the heavenly gods. I set up 14 cult vessels on top of the mountain. I heaped cane, cedarwood, and myrtle upon their pot stands, and I poured out a libation to the gods. They smelled the sweet aroma and gathered around me like flies. I prostrated myself before Anu and Enlil. Then Ishtar arrived. She lifted up the necklace of great jewels that her father, Anu, had created to please her, and said, "Heavenly gods, as surely as this jeweled necklace hangs upon my neck, I will never forget these days of the great flood. Let all of the gods except Enlil come to the offering. Enlil may not come, for without reason he brought forth the flood that destroyed my people." When Enlil saw my ship, he became furious with the other gods. "Has some human being escaped?" he cried. "No one was supposed to survive the flood. Who permitted this?" Ninurta, the warrior god, said to Enlil, "Do not be angry with us. Only Ea knows everything. Only he could have devised such a scheme." Ea then said to Enlil, "You are a ruler of the gods and are wise. How could you bring on such a flood without a reason? Hold the sinner responsible for his sin. Punish the person who transgresses, but be lenient so that he does not perish. Instead of causing the flood, it would have been better if you had caused a lion or a wolf to attack human beings and decrease their number. Instead of causing the flood, it would have been better if you had caused disease to attack human beings and decrease their number. Instead of causing the flood, it would have been better if you had caused famine to conquer the land. That would have weakened human beings and decreased their number." "It was not I who revealed the secret of the great gods," Ea said craftily. "Utanapishtim, the most wise, had a dream in which he discovered how to survive your flood. So now, Enlil, think of what to do with him." I bowed my face to the earth in fear and submission before Enlil. He took my hand, and together we boarded my ship. Then Enlil took my wife aboard the ship and made her kneel at my side. He placed himself between us and touched our foreheads to bless us. "Until now," Enlil said, "Utanapishtim and his wife have been human beings. From this time forward they will live like the heavenly gods. I have brought down for them everlasting breath, so that, like the gods, they may continue to live for days without end. Utanapishtim, the king of Shuruppak, has preserved the seeds of humanity and of plant and animal life. He and his wife will live far to the east, where the sun rises, at the mouth of the river in the mountainous land of Dilmun." Utanapishtim concluded the story of his adventure. "That is how it came to pass that my wife and I became like the heavenly gods and will live for days without end. Enlil himself conferred everlasting life upon us. But Gilgamesh, king of strong-willed Uruk though you are, who will call the heavenly gods to assembly for your sake, so that you can find the everlasting life you are seeking?" That concludes chapter 7 of Gilgamesh.